the talk we are going to have today, it's not only about Unreal Engine 5, but also what kind of skills, okay, you might need in order to work with the games industry, okay? Of course, Unreal Engine, not only Unreal Engine 5, Unreal Engine, both 4 and 5, are what used here at Scape, and most companies and studios are also using Unreal Engine. And of course, it's an awesome tool, as you're going to see. So, I'm quite aware, everybody coming here, you guys know what is Unreal Engine. If you don't, please just jump to unrealengine.com and you're going to find everything you need to know about Epic and Unreal Engine, okay? What's really important for everybody to understand is that Unreal Engine is primarily a games engine, okay? You create games with the engine. But along the years, let's say probably 5 years, I could give it, Unreal Engine is being used for everything you can imagine beyond games. If you saw, and this is a really good example, if you saw, I go back to this one, Mandalorian. Unreal Engine is being used for movies, televisions, architecture, broadcasting live events, simulations, etc., etc. Anything that needs high fidelity. If we can go back here for you. You can use Unreal Engine. What you've seen here, in my opinion, was on the most groundbreaking, crazy stuff that people did with the engine. Okay, Mandalorian, the TV show, Star Wars, I hope you guys saw, was basically part of this is not the whole show, of course, were shot with Unreal Engine, okay, being used as the background, okay, for the shoots, like you can see in here. Amazing! It's like, oh my god, okay. So you have the real actor, you have this gigantic LCD, you can rotate the environment in real time. The light that you see is being cast by the LCD or the LED televisions, and this is the future, basically. Okay, this is what people are going to be using. They are already using, and this is going to get more and more common. I strongly believe you're past the days of waiting renders, okay, to get I don't know, a movie, a Star Wars movie, cartoon, anything like that. Nowadays, it's possible to get real-time rendering solutions with Unreal Engine, okay, which is freaking amazing, okay? But again, like I said, if you want to know more about what you can use Unreal Engine for, check on their website here, and you're going to understand what I'm talking about. Also, just in case you guys haven't downloaded yet, jump to the download page on Unreal Engine. You need to create a login and download Unreal Engine. I'm quite aware that everybody knows it's free, okay? Both Unreal Engine 4.27 and Unreal Engine 5, okay? The moment you download, you're going to install what we call the Epic Games Launcher, and here you can access everything about the engine, okay? Including the versions you're going to be working with. As you can see, I have a few versions here, including Unreal Engine 5, but you can also jump to this really important tab called the Learn tab, okay? So if you want to learn more about the engine, understand what's possible to do with the engine, please go here and you can download samples, you can download content examples, the MetaHumans, the chaos destruction, audio, VR, name it. You have a bunch of projects in here that you can download. As a matter of fact, I believe I have most of them downloaded already, around here somewhere. and they are all free for you to use and learn about the engine, which is really cool. Okay, the amount of support that you can get from the community, from Epic, is incredible. Okay, as a matter of fact, I basically learned by myself how to use Unreal, especially if you take into account the internet and amount of tutorials and everything you had 10 years ago. So if I can learn, I promise you guys can learn. Now, what is the main difference that you're going to get from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5? What you see right now is Unreal Engine 4. If I'm not mistaken, this is 4.27, okay? Technically, it's the same engine, but if you take a look on the UI, you're going to notice that they did a beautiful work here on the UI. Okay, it's more, let's say, pleasant to the eyes. I particularly love. You can see you have less colors. The icons are more modern, I would say, but the essence is the same. Okay, you're going to get the same windows. You're going to get the same details panels, content browser, everything in Unreal Engine 5. Okay, which is really cool, making the transition really easy. Okay, this is just aesthetics. Now, what lies behind the scenes was making everybody go bananas about Unreal Engine 5. So what I have here, let me move this window a little bit to the side. It's just something really, really simple that I created. Actually, it's not even for the demo. It's something I was playtesting, I believe, on the day they released Unreal, the early access for Unreal Engine 5. To understand what is that everybody's talking about, these new features, and you're going to see something really interesting. Pay attention when I hit play. Hope my computer doesn't crash. There we go. And I hit play. Everything is going to be black, and suddenly you're going to see this. Oops, I forgot to take that out. I'll show you that in a moment. But as you can see, as I move, the light changes a little bit. You need to wait a few moments, and the light kicks back in. What's happening in reality here, and what is the game changer about Unreal Engine 5? Real-time global illumination, which was impossible to do up now. If you know what is rendering, offline renders, basically global illumination is going to calculate the bounces of the indirect light. So, quick example, imagine this source of light that I have up here. The light is going to hit the floor. This is the direct hit. That you can do, no problem. The problem is when the light bounces everywhere around the level. That was impossible to do unless you, between quotes, you pre-rendered the scene. You calculated the light. Don't get me wrong, was and is an amazing system, and which provides stability. You can scale your level from an Android device all the way, okay, to a AAA game or a render for a movie. The problem is, the holy grail, the thing that we want to have, is to be able to have the indirect light bounce, but have a real-time feedback. And this is possible now with Unreal Engine 5. Let me show what I'm talking about. But before I do that, let's find in here. That is going to bring me to my blueprints. And let's disconnect this. I come back to the blueprints in a moment. Just want to, yeah, because I have a UI I was playing around, so I don't want to add that in front. Now, if you look inside this particular corridor, you're going to notice that I have those kind of things in here that are emitting light. It's an emissive material. It's not a proper light, but they're emitting light. Now, take a look what happens when I select those guys. Those here. Yep. and delete. The light is going to adapt in real time. Everything you see is in real time. Let's say goodbye to this source of light. I have no light whatsoever at the level. Now, I'm going to create a new point light. And I'm going to make the light movable. Let's make this less intense, around 2. Let's make 1, not 11, 1. There we go. And let's place this all the way back there. I hope you can see, you have this here surrounding the level. So basically, this is how far the light will travel. Okay? Fantastic. Now, let's change. Make this a more interesting color. There we go. Okay? Now, pay attention when I move the camera away from the light. It gets dark. Then it's back in. Why is that? Simply because this new system is calculating the light based on what the camera actually sees. But this is not ideal because I want the light to be constant. So I want to come here, play, go around, and I don't want to have those changes in light. So if I go back there, I want this to be black. The light is still there, but now everything's pitch black. Oh, enter. Quick trick here. Our post process. I'm going to enable my post process and thing enabled. Where is my? So the light's going to kick in. Now, even if I go away from the light's going to stay there. It's a quick trick. I'm not going to waste so much time explaining that. Okay. Now, yeah, but you could do that before, right? You could have the light and something happening in real time. And not quite so. Here comes the beauty of the system. I want you to pay attention to this really carefully. I'm going to select my light. I'm going to the properties. Both in Unreal Engine 4 and Unreal Engine 5, you have intensity, the color of the light, attenuation radius, so on and so forth. Now, I'm going to make my light half of the intensity. Fantastic, everything adapts. What is insane about this new system is the indirect lighting settings. The intensity of the light is going to remain the same, but I can make the light illuminate more my environment by simply dial up this number. If you pay attention, the intensity of the light didn't change, but what's happening is that now the indirect lighting is bouncing over the place, creating this effect for us, real time. Look, the light adapting, let's make it 50, and you can see the effect adapting. It's insane. Now you have total control about how your light is going to behave, real-time shadows with quality, and you don't need to think about anything. Again, if I go close here, there's the light there, and change the indirect lighting, the intensity in here remains the same. Okay, and if I bring this up to, let's say, 50, you can see that the bounces of that light hitting the wall and everywhere is going to lighten the environment. This is insane. It's one of the best things I ever played around. Okay, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is a game changer because now you can light your environment, you can do anything you need and receive that instant feedback on how your light is going to behave. I can control now, let's say, attenuation radius. I want the light to stop around here and have that control on my lighting. Beautiful. It's one of the best things that ever happened to us. But this is just one part of the story, okay? Playing with lights in real time. Just one part of the story. I'm going to quickly jump to another project but I need to open the project first because this one's a little bit heavier. Again, running Unreal Engine 5. Let me show you something really, really cool. So, and I'm going to show you a few things about the post-processing and how you can control that, but I want to show you a little bit more about light or dive into that, if my computer can handle that. There we go. This is a project that I'm working right now. And this is a special, I think I have too many things open. Let's close Painter. I'll show you that later. This. There you go. So what is this here? This is a game that I'm working with some other people. And it's basically a dungeon crawler. Okay, if you're old enough, probably played some Eye of Beholder or I got the Black Crypt and other games on Amiga and Commodore 64. Anyway, needless to say, this is Unreal Engine 5, and everything you see here is being, the light is being done in real time. Okay. Now, I'm going to come over to this corner here that's pitch black, and I'm going to create another light. So, create my point light. Bring here. Let's make it movable. And bring this light up there. Look at the shadows. Pay attention to the shadows. Now, like I said, now I have total control about how much I want this light to flood the environment with luminosity. So I'm not going to go crazy on my intensity. I'm going to set this to 1. Look how it adapts in real time. Let's make this a warmer color. So let's go temperature, something like that. Cool. More moody look. Just go up a little bit. There you go. And now, look at this. Okay, the light's not going all the way down. You still have this beautiful shadow, everything happening, but I would like a little bit more, but I don't want to make the intensity so high. No problem. Like I showed you before, I can simply increase the indirect lighting and look at that. This is insane. Prior to that in Unreal Engine 4, after a few, I wouldn't say a few years, but if you have some experience, you know how much you're going to crank up your indirect lighting. But at the end of the day, you still need to wait for a few minutes, depending on how big and complex your level, for the render to finish, for the light calculation to finish. And sometimes you need to go a little bit faster, calculate the light. I need to go back and change a little bit. Now I can simply come here. 50 is too much. 25. Look at that. It's insane being able to do this in real time. And now I have instant feedback on how much I want my light to look and be. Bear in mind I'm using a point light. You can do that with any power lights in here, which is really cool. Okay. Now, light, in my opinion, is the thing that I like most, okay, about Unreal Engine 5. Having this real-time feedback is fantastic. I want to point something really important. This is an enclosed environment, okay? There is no sunlight, there is no skylight in here. All the lights that you see right now are being done by lumens, by point lights. I think only point lights. Maybe I have one rectangular light somewhere, okay? Everything is done by lumens here. So this amount of light that you see, this is just a test light, okay? It shouldn't be here. Bye. Everything that you see in here is by point lights, okay? It's not the final test, it's just a play area to test game logic and stuff like that. Nevertheless, I still need some lights to see the environment. Let's go over here. More. And this really red color that you see in here. Now, lumens is one of the key elements about Unreal Engine 5. The second key element that I want to share with you is this. When you look at those assets that I have in here, you think, this is just a regular mesh, right? This is a pillar, this is a wall, another column. But in reality, this is insanely high poly count. All those tiny triangles that you see in here, okay, are being rendered in real time. Okay, I'm not sure how many polygons I have on the scene, but take a give it, every single modular piece on this level has between 400 and 500,000 polygons. And this is what the engine is rendering. The cool aspect about this is it's an automatic LOD system. If you look here, this thing here is far away from the camera, but this section here is really close. When I move far away or close to something, you can see the triangles adapting in real time. Look at that. Like, I still can't believe we can play with this. Okay. This, go to unlit so you guys can see that you see in here, everything is real geometry. There is not a single normal map being used in here. Floor, everything has real geometry. Okay. And millions of polygons. Take a look on this thing here. This, let's say a few months ago, those details that you see here, the ladders, this pattern here, would have been baked into a normal map. Now, this is real geometry. I'm not going to even comment how insane this is. Look at the amount of polygons on this thing here. Okay. Let's show you the clusters. So this is how the engine is basically calculating. This we call clusters, and basically he calculates based on those small clusters. You can see the difference between this wall here and that guy there. As I approach, you're going to see the clusters getting smaller and smaller, and so on and so forth. Okay, this is Nanite, okay? The engine doing the heavy work for you. If you go back in here, you have this. All, I have no idea how many polygons I swear. Probably should be around 500 million polygons. Okay. Probably then again, sorry, I was thinking in Portuguese. Probably someone is going to ask on the Q&A later, so I'm going to save you the time. Yes, but you need a really powerful computer to run this. Not quite so. Believe it or not, my machine right now has a GTX 980 with only 4 gigabytes of memory. Okay, and I can reach 30 frames per second in here. The only reason that this thing is slowing down because I have so many things open at the same time, and I'm also streaming. But this is without RTX cards. This is the pre-1000 generation. Okay, the calculation of the lights is being done using the system that Unreal, the Lumen system, without using hardware acceleration. And as you saw, amazing. It's beautiful. Don't mind the lights. This is just because I have fog in here. Forgot to turn off that. Okay. Oh, this is what's making the world go bananas and crazy about Unreal Engine 5. Okay, it's, in my opinion, it's a game changer. It's not the final release yet. The Epic did quick update. Now this is version 2, if I'm not mistaken, and they're doing the final touches. When they're going to release, hard to say. I would bet probably summer next year, but whatever they have already here is fantastic, and I can live with this. But from from what I'm seeing on the forums and talks around the world, a lot more features are going to be introduced to the engine. Which brings me to what kind of skills, what we need now. Because if you can use billions of polygons, okay, like you saw probably on the demos that Epic played a few weeks ago, what are the new skills that you're going to be using on this generation? At the end of the day, people think that everything changed. Oh, we need to change the pipeline. It's completely different. It didn't change that much. Okay, you have a little bit more freedom, yes, but you're going to still be modeling using a software of your choice: Blender, Maya, Model, Cinema 4D, Houdini, what's the other one? 3ds, okay? And it's still going to be bringing your assets the usual way you would. The only difference now is that you can be a little bit more relaxed with your poly count, okay? Because now our Engine 5 can simply deal with that. As a matter of fact, this, let's go back here to Unlit, those machines that you see in here, that I did, sorry, that I created in Blender, because I was learning Blender, are really low poly, like really, really low poly. I go to face mode, you can see there's no polygons in here. But that doesn't mean I cannot use Nanite inside Unreal. Okay? This is still being nanited, if you prefer. Okay? The engine is still going to calculate the triangles, if needed, based on the distance. Okay? There are a few limitations with Nanite. You cannot vertex paint, you cannot do any word position animation. But I heard that's something that's coming. Okay? So you're still going to be modeling your assets. Nothing's going to change. You're going to have a little bit more freedom on your poly counts. Probably you're going to have more freedom to work with sub-D modeling without having to bake. Okay? You're going to probably be reducing the amount of baking high to low. Okay? Now, I think one of the key aspects to work not only for Unreal Engine 5, but Unreal Engine 4 is also texturing. And one thing that really surprised me recently, I was doing tests, I'm just showing the same assets so you can understand where it is coming from, was Mixer, Quixel Mixer from Epic as well. This is a texturing software, just in case you don't know, okay? And you can see that I use this for a test to texture this machine. Really cool using the calls, fantastic layers, all that. What really shocked me was this, because I wasn't expecting, truth to be told. Let's get something that's not totally crazy. This one. What you're going to see now is the result of my project, this particular dungeon that you're working here. Okay. On, go to Unlit. Computer is, there you go. So let's take a look on this. Like I said, this is real geometry. Even the letters you see here carved on the structure is real geometry. There is no normal map, I swear. Okay? This is a result of this software here called Reality Capture. Everything that you saw on that dungeon is photogrammetry. Okay? Myself and another person, we went to some places here in London and started taking pictures. Okay? Some medieval pictures, so on and so forth. So this that you see in here is the result of a small section. Okay? Not that big. Yeah, it's not that big. It's only 25 million triangles. It's not that much. I'm joking. Okay, but the end result of this, okay, you see inside the game. Of course, what you have in here is not 25 million polygons because doing UVs would be insane. It's around 500,000, I guess, this one. I don't remember, to be honest. But what really surprised me is that Quixel Mixer can actually handle pretty well high poly count meshes. This guy here has 1.5 million polygons coming straight, not straight, but Reality Capture, ZBrush, and now it's in here. And this is something that you're using on the level. It's like a kind of tombstone or something like that. Everything is real geometry, no normal maps as usual, besides the material you're using. Okay, and you can see, look at this. No problems. Blender cannot handle this as well as Quixel Mixer can. So this opened, at least for us on our project, a huge, huge opportunity, okay, to get higher quality meshes into Quixel Mixer, to texture them, or not, I would say texture because you're still using photogrammetry, but to give a layer of interest using moss and other stuff that you're going to have on our level. Something like that, for instance. I can remove the moss from below, on and so forth. It's fantastic, I swear. 1.5 million polygons on my computer with only 4 gigabytes of memory, it's fantastic, okay? So this is one of the workflows that is going to get more and more common in the future. Photogrammetry, okay? Using Reality Capture, another software that belongs now to the Epic family, I can simply go outside, I can take as many pictures I want of something, and inside Reality Capture, after a few moments, depending on how many pictures you have and how powerful is your computer, can get an amazing hand asset, okay? After that, it's just a matter of sending this to ZBrush. I can show you in ZBrush and do a few operations here and there to do this. Again, I would like to emphasize that I don't have a powerful computer because I couldn't get a new GPU in the last 6 months, and I lost my window of opportunity, and I'm not going to pay £2,000 for a 3,000 card. But anyway, wait. Open again. Mm-hmm. No. Can I open? Bear in mind, I need to open. Can open that. Really, really cool. This pillar here. I don't remember. There we go. What you see right now, not the best. It's 1.7 million polygons. This is a result, believe it or not, coming from an iPhone, okay? And this is a column that you're basically using inside our pet project, okay? This is coming from Reality Capture. It was a little bit high, I think, yeah, it was 4 million polygons that I cleaned up. And basically, this is not the end result. I still need to clean up a few areas, but this is going to go into Unreal after we do the UVs in here. I'm not going to explain the whole process because that would take probably 1 hour how to do the projections. But the cool thing is Unreal Engine 5 can deal, I think I have the column here somewhere, can deal with that. Here's the column. Excuse me. You can see that column that I just showed you in ZBrush in here. And if I go to Nanite, you can see the thing is a little bit too high. I should have went lower, but I don't care. We can. Now, in Reality 5, I think this is 500,000 polygons. I think I'll give it, I don't recall. Okay. But proves my point. You can work with as many polygons as you want, which is insane. Okay. One final thing that I want to show you before I open some time for Q&A. So I showed you the light, right? How cool is having the light over there, doing its work. It's a beautiful way of lighting environment. And I can simply, I don't like the light there. Move down here. Look at the shadows. It's thing. But behind the scenes, this is what's happening. This is the global illumination. This is how the GI is being calculated. You can see it's not quite there yet. You have a little bit of noise. This is because it's a closed environment. I give you that. But once you have textures and materials applied, it's something that you don't notice. But if you look here, how cool is that? The GI happening in real time. This is real-time global illumination. Fantastic. Amazing stuff. Okay. And go back to user defaults. Everything can be controlled. That's post with a post-process volume. Besides what you could do before with post-process volumes regarding bloom exposure, etc., etc. Now you have in here the option to play around with lumens. So if I want, I could, for instance, increase the quality or decrease the quality of final gathering. I'm not sure if it's possible to see on this particular level. Able. Yeah. If I go and bring this down, the lower the quality, of course, is going to be a little bit faster on your GPU. You're going to get this noise, like this kind of cloudy effect. But if I crank this up to 2, look at that. I still can't believe, every time I showcase this, I still cannot believe that it's possible. See, take a look there. Go back to 0.5, 0.25, something like that. It's noisy. Usually 1 does a pretty good job. There are other console comma. I'm not going to play around. You can play with ray tracing, global illumination. You can play around with your reflections, okay? All being taken care by lumens. I don't have any reflection because there's nothing shiny to play around here. Nevertheless, it's fantastic. Like, it's unbelievable what this thing can do. Really cool. Now, final thoughts. Like you saw, lumens, it's running on a GTX 980, okay? Of course, it would be more than happy to have a more powerful GPU to play around, but it's working really well, okay? And Nanite is just a matter when you import your mesh, check one single button. So if I can find, say, this guy here, let's show you the mesh. Okay, so this is the Nanite mesh. Okay, you can see here that you have the option to enable Nanite. So when import, it's going to take a little bit longer to import, especially if the mesh is really high poly. But at the end of the day, once it's done, you're going to get an amazing result inside. Okay, this is a proxy, it's not the original mesh, the end result of Nanite, but nevertheless, still a little bit high poly for just a wall. Okay. One thing that I like to tell my students that my students, they come to Escape to study games and how to create beautiful environments to run inside the engine. Doesn't matter what you're going to be doing, okay? It's most certain that the end result is going to be running inside the Unreal Engine. And if you have the knowledge of working and knowing how to use the Unreal Engine, it's not only the games industry you can work. You can work on the movies industry, archivists, VR, you name it. I have students that graduated in games that are now working at Framestore, Double Negative, for the moves industry, okay, using Unreal for like Mandalorian, stuff like that. This is the new, I don't say the holy grail, but this is the new cool thing to do with Unreal Engine. Games, of course, my passion is games, but creating this type of experience for movies and having the possibility of doing lighting in real time, like we just saw today, it's something that's going to change the industry for the foreseeable future. That's for sure. Okay, and knowing how to use Unreal Engine is going to be a big, big plus on anyone's CV, anyone that wants to work with creative industry. Let me show you one final thing. You need to see this because I'm going to shut down this level. And bye-bye ZBrush. Thank you, Mixer. Most welcome. You need to see one cool thing. And I'm going to shut down Blender. This is something, this is running in Unreal Engine 4, but I did already a test in Unreal Engine 5, and it's, from what I saw, most of things are working. There are a few odd, 2 or 3 things that are not working yet, but it will eventually. This is something that you can get for free as a student. Okay, if you find, if you follow the website of this guy, Fluid Ninja, okay, you can use that to learn how to use this particular project. But it's not that expensive. I think it's $65 or $75 or pounds. And it's worth every single dollar or pound or pence that you're going to pay. Take a look at this. This is one of the most insane things I ever saw running in Unreal. This is a fluid simulation running in Unreal. Look at that. Boring, right? This is not cool. Okay, take a look at this one. It's unbelievable. I can't believe that something like this exists. I can even use my mouse. Look at that, to do the simulation. I can push those boxes and the thing will adapt. Look here. Oh, oh, oh. Now, I like this one. Kind of. Ugh. It's really cool. It's insane. Now, you want to know what is insane about this? You think, this is 3D mesh or something like that. This is a plane. Okay? This is a plane, a 2D plane with this applied. It's like really, Epic needs to hire this guy because this is really, really insane. Look at that. Well then, whatever you want. I could spend the whole night, the whole talk talking about this. I just want to show it because look at that. Chocolate. Okay. And this is just the tip of the iceberg in Unreal. I don't have any other ones to show you here. But this is one cool thing. I could spend the whole night, but I'm running out of time. I don't want to go to extend too much. Oh, what's the name of the simulation again? Is this thing here? Let me show you. You can get on the marketplace. You go here on the Epic Games launcher. Type, I think it's Fluid Ninja or Ninja Fluid. I never remember how to. There you go. No? Well, it helps if I can type properly. No, why it's not? Fluid. This Fluid Ninja Live is 65 pounds if you're in here, but take a look here. You can get a free copy for testing on the Discord community as a student version. Of course, it is just for learning purpose. You cannot have any project with this thing, but I believe this is one of those. It's unbelievable. Everything that you've seen here, this, look at this. Seriously, it's insane. Okay, but this is a cool thing about Unreal Engine. If you go to the marketplace, you can find so many things in here that you can buy or download and use in your projects, even for free. There's this is the best area of this thing, free. You have every month Epic doing something for free, something that's forever free. Of course, Meg scans and Epic game content. I highly recommend, even if you're not going to use it, look at this. You want some trucks? I do. I'm going to get this later when I finish the talk. Put on the cart, and you can get those guys for free.